Hey there! Ready to explore some unique corners of Canada. Today we're diving into these rural and Francophone community immigration pilots.
Okay.
And the timing couldn't be better
Right.
because both programs open on January 31st.
Wow.
So if you've ever dreamed of living in a close-knit community,
Yeah.
contributing your skills, and
Mhm.
maybe even brushing up on your French,
Okay.
this deep dive is for you.
That's right. These pilots aren't just about immigration.
Okay.
They're about revitalization.
Interesting.
Smaller communities across Canada are facing some big challenges,
Yeah.
from aging populations to workforce shortages.
Right.
These programs aim to address that
Okay.
by attracting skilled workers who are ready to make a real commitment.
Okay, so it's not just about finding a job.
Right.
It's about finding a place to put down roots.
Exactly. And that's reflected in how the programs are designed.
Okay.
Think of it as a matchmaking service,
Interesting.
pairing skilled individuals like you with communities that are eager to welcome them.
So where are these hidden gems?
Yeah.
We're not just talking about big cities, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Let's start with the Rural Community Immigration Pilot.
Okay.
We've got 14 communities spread across the country,
Wow.
from Pictou County in Nova Scotia to Peace Liard in British Columbia.
Okay.
And in between,
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
places like Brandon, Manitoba,
Uh-huh.
known for its agricultural industry,
Okay.
and Clarisholm, Alberta.
Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I had to look that one up on a map.
really.
But hey,
Yeah.
that's what deep dives are for, right?
Yeah,
Discovering new horizons.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ontario is also well represented with communities like North Bay,
Mm-hmm.
Sudbury, Timmins,
Mm.
Sault Ste. Marie,
Wow.
and Thunder Bay, all on board.
Yeah.
Each offers its own unique blend of industry and lifestyle.
So there's a real diversity of options from
Yeah.
coast to coast.
Mhm.
This isn't a one-size-fits-all program.
That's key.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that these communities weren't just picked randomly. They had to prove they could support newcomers,
Okay.
not just with jobs,
Yeah.
but with integration services,
yeah.
housing,
Mm-hmm.
and a welcoming environment.
So they're not just looking for warm bodies.
Right.
They're looking for people who will truly thrive.
Precisely.
Oh.
Now let's talk about the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot.
What?
This one focuses on 6 communities that are eager to welcome French-speaking or bilingual skilled workers.
Okay.
We're talking about places like the Acadian Peninsula in New Brunswick,
Mm-hmm.
Sudbury and Timmins in Ontario,
Right.
and even Kelowna, British Columbia.
Kelowna. That one surprised me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have pegged it as a Francophone hub.
It highlights the fact that Francophone communities exist throughout Canada,
Okay.
even in unexpected places.
Right.
And this pilot is all about supporting those communities,
Okay.
preserving their language and culture,
Yeah.
and bringing in new talent that can contribute to their unique vitality.
Okay. So we've got 2 different pilots with distinct geographic and linguistic focuses.
Right.
But at the heart of it,
Yeah.
they both share the same goal,
Yeah.
attracting skilled workers
Yeah.
and offering them a pathway to permanent residence.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
These pilots offer a unique advantage that sets them apart from other immigration pathways.
Oh.
The potential to work while you wait for your permanent residency application to be processed.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
So you could potentially land a job,
Mhm.
move to one of these communities,
Yeah.
and start working right away,
Yes.
even before you have your permanent residency status.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for a lot of people.
Wow.
Imagine being able to settle in,
Yeah.
start earning an income,
Hmm.
and really integrate into your new community from day one.
That sounds incredible.
It is.
But I imagine there are some specific requirements to be eligible for this work while you wait option.
Right.
It can't be that easy.
You're right. It's not a free-for-all. To qualify,
Yeah.
you need to secure a job offer from a designated employer in one of the participating communities.
Okay.
These employers have gone through a rigorous vetting process,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring they understand the program requirements and are committed to supporting newcomer integration.
So it's not just about finding any job. It's about finding the right job with the right employer.
Exactly.
What does that designation process look like?
It involves mandatory training for employers,
Okay.
covering everything from their responsibilities under the program to best practices for supporting newcomer integration.
Mm-hmm.
They also need to submit an application to their local community,
Okay.
demonstrating their commitment to the program and their capacity to provide a welcoming and supportive environment.
So it's not just a rubber stamp.
Yeah.
The communities are really taking ownership of this,
Mm.
making sure the employers are up to the task. It sounds like a win-win for everyone involved.
That's the goal. And the benefits go beyond just the economic aspect. Think about the cultural exchange that happens when people from different backgrounds come together in a shared community.
It's about enriching the social fabric,
Yeah,
bringing in new ideas and perspectives.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, beyond the employer side of things,
Okay.
let's talk about what you need to know as a potential applicant.
Okay.
Let's break down those eligibility requirements,
Mm-hmm.
starting with the rural community immigration pilot.
Okay. Let's say I'm intrigued by this whole Claresholm, Alberta situation.
Okay.
What do I need to do to even be considered?
First and foremost, you'll need that qualifying job offer from a designated employer in one of the 14 participating communities.
Okay.
This offer needs to be genuine,
Yeah.
meaning it aligns with your skills and experience.
Right.
It's not about taking just any job to get in.
Right. It has to be a real opportunity, not just a loophole.
Exactly.
So what constitutes a qualifying job offer?
Right.
Are we talking about specific types of occupations?
That's where the National Occupational Classification,
Okay.
or NOC codes come in.
NOC.
Yeah. Each job in Canada is assigned an NOC code.
Mm-hmm.
And for these pilots,
Yeah.
the job offer generally needs to be in a skilled occupation,
Okay.
usually at NOC skill level 0A or B.
0A or B.
Yeah. You can find more details about NOC codes on the Government of Canada website.
So a bit of homework is involved.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure your skills match up with the in-demand occupations in the community you're interested in.
Exactly. Now, here's something interesting.
Oh.
If you're a recent graduate from a public post-secondary institution in one of those participating communities,
Yeah.
you might not need prior work experience to be eligible.
Oh, that's a nice perk for those who've studied locally.
Yeah.
It shows a real commitment to nurturing homegrown talent.
It does.
That's it.
Now, once you have that job offer,
Okay.
you're not done yet.
Oh.
You'll need to work with the community to get a recommendation.
Okay.
This is where they assess whether you're a good fit,
Mm-hmm.
not just for the job,
Yeah.
but for the community itself.
So it's like a mini interview process with the community.
Yeah, kind of.
What are they looking for?
They want to see that you're genuinely interested in becoming a part of their community,
Okay.
that you're committed to staying long-term, and that you're ready to contribute to the local fabric.
Okay.
This might involve showcasing your volunteer experience,
Yeah.
highlighting your language skills, if applicable,
Mm-hmm.
or even just expressing your enthusiasm for embracing a new environment.
It's about showing you're not just passing through.
Right.
Okay, so that's the rural pilot.
Yeah.
How does it work for the Francophone community immigration pilot?
It's similar in terms of meeting the designated job offer and community recommendation.
Right.
But of course, the language element comes into play here.
Okay.
You'll need to demonstrate your French language proficiency through an approved language test.
So if I'm dreaming of Kelowna, but my French is a bit rusty,
Uh-oh.
I might need to hit the books first.
That's a good idea. The required language level varies depending on the specific job offer.
Okay.
So it's best to check the details early on.
Makes sense.
Now let's get back to that work while you wait magic.
Okay.
You mentioned it might not be as simple as it sounds.
Yeah.
What are the potential hurdles?
Well, for starters, you'll need more than just that job offer from a designated employer.
Okay.
You'll also need a referral letter from the community itself.
Okay.
This letter confirms they've reviewed your application and believe you meet the criteria for the pilot.
Right.
It basically reinforces your commitment to settling in that specific community.
Right. It adds another layer of assurance.
Okay.
And keep in mind, even with these documents in hand,
Yeah.
you'll still need to apply for a separate work permit specific to the pilot you're applying under.
Oh, okay.
There's one application for the rural community immigration pilot and another for the Francophone community immigration pilot.
So there's no cutting corners.
Right.
Even though the end goal is permanent residency,
Mm-hmm.
you'll need to navigate the work permit process first if you want to start working right away.
That's right. And while this work permit option is a fantastic benefit, there are some nuances to be aware of.
Okay.
For instance, the type of work you're allowed to do is generally limited to the job specified in your offer letter.
Right.
You can't just hop between different jobs at will.
So it's tied to that specific opportunity.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. You're being brought in to fill a particular need.
Exactly. And while processing times for work permits can vary,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to be prepared for a potential waiting period.
Okay.
It's not an instant green light.
That's good to know. It's all about setting realistic expectations.
Right.
Now, I know this work while you wait aspect is a big draw for these pilots.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, there are other immigration pathways to Canada.
Of course.
How do these pilots stack up against other options?
That's a great question. One key difference is the emphasis on community involvement.
Okay.
In other programs, you might focus more on your individual qualifications,
Yeah.
like your education and work experience.
Right.
Here, your commitment to the community is just as important.
So it's not just about ticking boxes on an application.
Right.
It's about demonstrating you'll be a good neighbor.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that community focus can be a real advantage for newcomers.
Correct.
They're not just arriving in a new country. They're being welcomed into a ready-made support system.
It's like having a built-in network.
Yeah.
People who were invested in your success. That can make all the difference in those early days.
It can. And another key difference is the emphasis on rural and Francophone communities.
Right.
These areas often face unique challenges attracting and retaining skilled workers.
Yeah.
So these pilots offer a targeted solution.
So you're telling me these programs aren't just filling job gaps.
Right.
They're actually trying to address broader demographic and economic trends.
It is.
That's a pretty big picture way of thinking about immigration.
And that's where I think these pilots get really interesting. They're not just about individual success stories.
Yeah.
They're about community revitalization on a larger scale. Think about the ripple effect.
Okay.
When skilled workers move to these communities,
Yeah.
they bring their families.
Right.
They contribute to the local economy. They support local businesses. It's a chain reaction of positive impact.
It makes you wonder, what's the long game here?
Yeah.
What does success look like for these programs 5-10 years down the road?
Well, from an economic standpoint, success could mean things like increased population growth,
Okay.
lower unemployment rates,
Yeah.
and a more diversified economy in these communities.
Makes sense.
Culturally, success might look like greater diversity, a richer social fabric, and a stronger sense of belonging for both newcomers and longtime residents.
It's about creating a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Where everyone benefits from these programs.
And it's not just about the hard numbers.
Right.
It's about the intangible benefits, too.
Okay.
Imagine a small town that was struggling to keep its school open because of declining enrollment. Suddenly, they have an influx of new families with young children. Or picture a rural community that was losing its cultural vibrancy.
Okay.
Now they have newcomers bringing in fresh perspectives and traditions.
Those are the stories that really bring this to life. It's not just about policy. It's about people's lives being changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those stories are already starting to emerge.
Oh, really?
I've read about a Syrian refugee family who moved to a small town in Manitoba through the rural pilot program.
Okay.
The father is a skilled carpenter, and he's been able to find work in his field, supporting his family and contributing to the community.
Yeah.
The children are thriving in the local school.
That's great.
And the family has been embraced by their new neighbors.
Wow.
It's a heartwarming example of how these programs can create a sense of belonging and opportunity.
It sounds like these pilots are offering a fresh start, not just for the newcomers, but for the communities themselves.
It is.
It's a chance to write a new chapter, to build something together.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And while it's still early days,
Okay.
I'm optimistic about the potential of these programs to make a lasting impact.
Well, I'm convinced if anyone out there is feeling that pull towards a simpler life, a strong community, and a chance to make a real difference,
Right.
these programs are worth exploring.
Definitely.
But before we wrap up, I have one final question.
Okay.
We've talked about all the positives.
Yeah.
But are there any potential challenges or drawbacks we should be aware of?
That's an important point.
Right.
While these programs have a lot to offer,
Right.
it's crucial to approach them with realistic expectations.
Okay.
Integration takes time and effort, both from the newcomers and the communities.
Yeah.
There might be cultural differences to navigate, language barriers to overcome, and logistical hurdles like finding housing or transportation.
So it's not all sunshine and roses?
No,
There will be bumps in the road.
there will be.
Yeah.
And it's essential for both sides to be prepared for that.
Okay.
Communities need to invest in resources and support systems for newcomers.
Yeah.
And newcomers need to be proactive in learning about the local culture, connecting with their neighbors,
Right.
and building a new life for themselves.
It's a shared responsibility, a two-way street.
It is.
But ultimately, if both sides are committed to making it work, these programs have the potential to be truly transformative.
I agree. And that's what I find so inspiring about this whole initiative.
Okay.
It's a reminder that immigration isn't just about numbers. It's about people.
Right.
It's about creating connections, fostering understanding, and building a more inclusive and vibrant Canada for everyone.
Well said. So for anyone listening who's feeling inspired to take the plunge,
Yeah.
where can they go to learn more about these pilots and the specific communities involved?
The Government of Canada website is a great starting point. They have a wealth of information about both the rural and Francophone community immigration pilots, including details about each participating community, eligibility requirements, application procedures, and more.
It's like a one-stop shop for all your immigration dreams.
It is. And I encourage anyone who's even remotely curious to check it out.
Okay.
You never know. You might just find your perfect match.
And on that note, we'll leave you to explore further.
Okay.
We hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on immigration and the incredible opportunities that exist in communities across Canada.
It was great talking with you.
Happy exploring.